Hello and welcome back to the channel, and we join the characters on I think this is episode 10 of the Lost Palace of Dunmorna, and this is their second day in the complex. After a brief rest back in Marston, they're now into their for day 4, which is now day 2 in the complex. They are now into their third hour. So it is, and they're just coming down from a high after having quite a decisive combat against 3 fire beetles, which proved to be quite tough opposition. They did have the advantage of surprise, and they were managed to, as a coordinated attack, managed to take on the 3 individually. It was quite a close run thing. It was very difficult for them to achieve hits on these fire beetles, who had a high armor class, and there was a touch and go situation when Dagobert was attacked towards the end of the melee. All the characters performed very well. Tristan was probably the star of the show in that particular instance. He had a couple of decisive interventions, but Dagobert, even though he missed a couple of times, they're very, very close. I think his first attack was a bit of a duff, but thereafter he's very almost like critical hits, but just glanced off the tough exoskeleton of these fire beetles. So we leave the characters almost like just coming down from this combat high. So what we have to do is basically account for another rest period to do that. So we're already up to 4, and we're carrying over 3 rounds. So I would say we're up to 5, and we're up to 3 there. The room itself, we haven't mapped yet. All we've done is basically got this configuration. So the fire beetles were here, their slain bodies are lying around. The characters are kind of, cleaning their weapons, coming down, coming to terms with the situation, taking in their surroundings. And then they realise, oh, well, we could actually do with a bit of rest anyhow. So they're due their rest period too, because that kicks in at the end of the 3rd hour. So we're going to have to put down a general rest period here. Now, the trouble with that is, that takes us into, so we've got another 1 hour elapsed. And then we go to 2:30. So we're now at 2:30. But whenever we've done 6 turns, you know what that means? It means the wandering monster check. And because we're on heighten wandering monster alert, it's now a 1 and a 2 on a D10. So there is a strong possibility. So this is going to be an important roll for the characters. 10. So we escape an encounter. This is a group sigh of relief. The thing is, it's probably this is quite an arbitrary thing, but any mechanic, you've got this regular time thing. And I'm sure I think in the outdoor encounters, it does say that you can't really kind of play it. You almost like can game the time it is the best time to go out to do like wandering around in the wilderness. And the dungeon master should have discretion in trying to kind of move encounters into different things. But at this stage, I think it's we're not gaming the system. How can I really game against my own system? We're just reflecting quite a useful arbitrary kind of time delineation. We're following this clock hopefully to a letter. So why not just apply the Wandering Monster? If we want to be a bit more, say the next complex we go into, we might say, well, actually, I prefer to have Wandering Monsters every half hour. So every 3 turns, I'll make a check. And it'll be a 1 in 6 to do that, which I think is the standard that's, according to this, and the not the official, but the starting adventure, a 1 in 6 chance every 3 turns is what's used there. I've used this 1 in 10 every 6 turns because I feel that in the periodic check, I think I've mentioned this before, the periodic check on page 17, yeah, it already has a Wandering Monster feature, which comes in at 20. So I think we would maybe just be double counting, over penalizing. So, okay, so we escape that. We need to do our mapping process now. So we're up to, and we've got, so that carries down, that 3 rounds carries down to our next one here. So we look at the room. Lindros gets his pen out and starts to scribe away. That's going to take a turn, and that will take a turn and 2 rounds. So if we go up to 5 and 2 turns. Okay. Now during that progress, we have been mapping out and trying to go through the room, and we've discovered some treasure there, because as part of the fire beetle encounter, we had monster and treasure. So during that mapping process, probably when you think of the room, it's full of like debris from the beetles. Now they, according to what I've read about the fire beetles, they're quite carnivorous. They are carnivorous, and they just strip their prey, all the flesh off, and they even go down like entrails and everything. They consume everything. So then maybe there's a lot of like husks and bones and that type of thing all over the place. And obviously they're not going to clean up the place. They're just going to leave anything lying around. And there's also the associated debris from, say they've slain some characters, a party, and they've overcome them, and then they've stripped the bodies, all their kind of clothing and maybe bits of armor and stuff like that, they could be all lying around, and it's all rusted, and so there's just a bit of a mess in here. And also maybe the fire beetles had something to do with Callistra. Maybe these again are kind of either escaped experiments, or maybe she was doing something with their glowing things. So we're probably going to have to, we've got a treasure determination here, and we've also got the fire beetles, what we're going to do with them, because it did allude to the fact that fire beetles had these glowing glands that we could sell to miners. So we've just got to find a miner. And the only downside is it only lasts for, I think, 1 to 6 days. So the shelf life, the half-life of these things is pretty short and limited. Fair enough, if it lasted, say, for 1 to 6 months or something, you maybe have a commodity to actually sell on the open market. But I would say it's a bit of a limited life. It's like modern batteries. They just don't really seem to last that long. Electric cars and whatever. Maybe these are kind of like electric cars. They're just not. They just don't really cut it. You're better off with your petrol and your diesel. Right. I've got my train of thought. Yes, we want to do the treasure calculation. So I thought, let's look at the table in the actual Appendix A. And I thought, well, maybe we're just doing it the wrong way round. Maybe we should, basically, treasure contained in, maybe we should determine that first, and whether it's guarded, and then, once we've, like Tristan, who is the thief, maybe he does a kind of like a kind of forensic examination of these, and what we could do is penalize him time-wise for searching for the traps and that type of stuff. And I think there is actually, in that, if we just go to the, here, I'm sure there is a list of what the time is. Yeah. So door search for traps. Yeah. It's not really like a treasure thing for search. So that's saying for searching for traps on a door is around. So I would say maybe around to do the search on the treasure, just to make sure that there's nothing there that's going to pounce on us. So I think what we'll do is we will discover what the treasure is first. Sorry, what the containers for the treasure is. So we'll have a container and treasure. I've got post-it notes all over the place, but I do seem to have lost my original thing. I must have used it for somewhere else, but I'll just use some scrap bits just now. Actually, here's an old spider one. If I get any of my ones that I was using for my, sorry about that. I should have, yay, here we go. I've got a brand new treasure one. Right, so treasure, and we'll have that as room 10. Now, what's it contained in? So what we'll do is, with this, the treasure, with monster, take 2 rolls on the without monster table, add 10%, total 2 each. Now remember, we came up with a rather disappointing, for the spider, we came up with 2 caches of 1,000 silver pieces, which was kind of, it was a bit kind of rubbish, really. It didn't really, you know, the return on investment was pretty low. So we'd be hoping for something a bit more kind of wow. Basically, you know, the characters are in a bit of a fix because they have been down here for a while. You know, maybe their luck will turn and they will actually come across a monster that can really give them a bit of a hammering, and they might actually lose some people. So they could do really with some, you know, actually getting a big monetary gain here and almost saying, right, okay, we can consolidate our position now. If it's say platinum pieces and stuff, like 100 platinum pieces, great. And it's, you know, it's so you know, it's encumbrance wise, it's no impact at all. You know, it's very, very transportable. So it's that kind of thing that we're after. But let's do what the 2 things, what they'd be contained in first. So we'll do a percentage, and it's 72. Oh, it's a D20, sorry. D20. And it's 11 pottery jars. So we've got some pottery jars. Numbers to be determined. And we'll do our 1 in 10 that is guarded. So it's not guarded. So, phew. So Tristan does an examination of these jars. He does it for hairline fractures and little pins and little spikes and darts and all that type of things. Explosive runes I see down on the list. We don't want any, definitely no explosive runes. That would be quite in the face type stuff. That would be too nice. So we're at the enviable position. So I'll just say that's taken another round. So we're up to 6. We're in the enviable position of adding 10% to this roll for our first treasure. So fingers crossed we get something of significance. So 35 plus 10 is 45. Oh no. Guess what? Another 1,000 silver pieces. Yeah. So Callistra must have been really into silver pieces. Maybe this is what she paid. Maybe they had a lot of legionaries stationed helping out, you know, to put down the locals, and this was their form of payment. Lots of silver pieces, and we've just found all the mint that produces them all. Okay, maybe we're going to be lucky in our next roll. Add 10%. Keep your fingers crossed for the team. Yes, now that sounds promising. That's going to be 73. So we look at our little treasure table, and 73. 250 gold pieces. That's more like it, isn't it? Okay. So there's some pottery jars containing silver pieces, and then there's 250 gold pieces. So that's 250 experience points off the bat. Whereas that's going to be, that's, what was it? We're saying we had 2,000, that's like equivalent to 100 gold pieces. So that's like 50 gold pieces. That's a 50 experience point. And then you've got to lug all that around. Even Tristan with his big kind of muscly frame is going to find that difficult. He's not going to be able to carry 3,000 silver pieces, but 250 gold pieces, that's just like, he just stick that in one of his little sacks, and he's got that tied around his stick it in his backpack if he wants. He'd be quite happy with that. Okay, so we've done the treasure calculation. The other thing is the fire beetles. Now we've got the fire beetles, and what it says in the fire beetles in the monster manual is beetles. It says fire beetles have 2 glands above their eyes and 1 near the back of their abdomen, which give off a red glow. For this reason, they are highly prized by miners and adventurers, as the luminosity will persist for 1 to 6 days after the glands are removed from the beetle. So in total, we've got 9 glands that we want to remove. Now, remember, cast your mind back to the characters, and you would say, well, what, surely the characters they don't know how to do this, remove, they could maybe give it a shot, removing these glands from these beetles. How they're gonna hack them out, or with a dagger they're gonna cut it out. Well, relevant skills potentially. So we come to our secondary skills, and I would say that looking at these 3 skills, so we've got Tanner for Tristan, Husbandman for Dagobert, and Trapper for Lindris. Now, Tanner is probably the most relevant. Now, we're not talking about butchering, but Tristan, surely with his tanning skills, has had some kind of, he knows how to deal with hides and basically leather, that type of thing, and scrape off like the animal stuff from it and cure it all, and that's where all the kind of smell comes from. It's kind of a bit disgusting. So maybe he has indirectly got some butchering skills. Fair enough, an insect, a giant insect, which is 2.5 feet long. I think that's what they are. They're they're the size of a dog. So imagine them like a dog kind of size thing, a large dog. Maybe this is a bit kind of, might turn, but he's probably not going to have his stomach turned or anything. He's probably going to say, yeah, I can do that type of thing. I'll get stuck in. And then he's probably going to be ably assisted by these 2, because Husbandman, Dagobert knows his way around animals and whatever, so maybe he knows a bit about anatomy and that type of stuff. Maybe that's probably the least. And then Trapper from Lindris, again, he knows about, he traps animals out in the wild. Maybe he knows how to skin a rabbit and that type of thing. And there must be a lot of kind of so between the 3 of them, I would say that they are kind of tooled up to do this quite efficiently. So something that might have taken, say, almost like around a beetle, I would say maybe takes half that time. Now maybe almost like around a gland. Maybe we could reduce it by 1/3. So instead of 9 rounds, it's only going to take us 3 to do it. Yes, that's what I'll do. So they hack them out, whack, 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 So we go up to, you know, that might be too fast, but we'll just do that. So we're up to 9. So we're almost on. In fact, let's just say it, you know, for the sake of simplicity, that takes us up to 1 there, and we get rid of all our little fractions. And we're back to square 1 again. So we're left with this situation here that we've got the glands, which we put in a sack. We've got these silver pieces and gold pieces in pottery jars. So I would suggest that we keep the gold pieces close. And with the silver pieces, let's just have a look at our map again. We can, now I was saying this was a secret door that we discovered. Now I remember now what this was. So this was the spider room, and remember we did a kind of like a group search, and Lindros went up this wall and Tristan went up this wall, and he missed this one when he was going past it, and he just kept on going. And then Lindros went up here and he missed this one and kept on going, and then Lindros found this, and we went through that, and we kind of forgot about these. If we knew about that, and we probably could do a kind of search on, if we were searching here for secret doors, we could do a search on this wall and find it. We could get through here and then get into our strong room quite fast. Otherwise, we have to walk all the way back through here, back along, to take our silver pieces back. So I think it just comes down to maybe having a decision. And Dagobert says, look, let's be consistent. Let's not just let's ensure that all our hoard is kept together. And when you think about it, there is an option that you can find. You always wonder why you can find treasure by itself in a complex, and you think, well, why would all that treasure be sitting? Maybe this situation where the adventurers haven't been able to carry it out, or temporarily they've got treasure and they've hoarded it. Say adventurers, say our characters have died in this room, but more adventurers came and explored here, and they came down into this room and they found this secret door here, and they got through and they went, oh, look what there's a stash of there's flasks of oil, and there's 2 big urns. Oh, and they've got silver pieces in it. That's the type of thing, maybe that's what that represents. That it's maybe other people's loot or a monster's loot that's just been left. They either couldn't carry, or they've died or something, and they've just left it. But what Dagobert wants to do is he wants to keep it consistent. So he says, right, what we're going to do is we're going to take these silver pieces and the glands, but we're going to keep the gold pieces on us. So Tristan, you can keep a hold of the gold pieces, because they aren't going to go anywhere. So they're not going to impact your encumbrance whatsoever. You're not going to feel you're not even going to raise the sweat. But we keep those valuable items, which we could actually take out of this dungeon right now and use effectively out in the outside world. We'll keep that on our person. So they take the silver pieces and the glands, and they go back along here. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Now we move it 10 times as fast because we've mapped all this. So that's only going to take about two rounds, I would say. Because we usually move at 90 when we're mapping, 90 a turn. So that would be like 90 a round now that we move. We move almost 10 times as fast. So if that's 20, 21, that's going to be about two rounds. So it's almost like just a bit over 2 rounds. So we'll do that. We'll do 2 rounds to get back there. And then we think, right, okay, so we'll put that down there. That's taken 2 rounds. And then we say, all right, okay, we've stashed that there. Let's get back here and see whether we can explore any more of this room. We've mapped it out. Let's see if we can adventure further. Because 250 gold pieces, you know, it's a nice sum, but it's not really enough to kind of leave the dungeon now. I think we've still got some exploring in us to see whether we can come up with a nice cache of items. So we'll do that. And obviously I'm making a note of what all the treasure is, and then I've got a note of all the monsters that we've slain, so I can work out the experience points. So when we get back to Marchton, if we get back to Marchton, the Green Dragon Inn, we can do a reckoning of how those experience calibrate and how they're divided between the party. In fact, I probably won't sit there and work it out here on screen. I'd probably work it out in non-screen time, and then I'll show you my workings when we come to actually see how it's divided up. I think that would be a bit more entertaining than sitting watching me. I'm already proving on square roots that, you know, what I should, you know, the square roots, yes, that was ridiculous. If I just use my common sense, because what we were talking about is something circa 5,000 square feet. Well, what's 7 times 7? You know, if I'd just done that, that would have given me a kind of rough approximation. You know, 7.5 feet by 75 by 75 feet would have probably, you know, I should have just thought that way. But there you go. In the heat of the moment, sometimes I was overcome by the red haze of the combat or something. Okay, where are we? We get back here, so that's another 2 turns to do that. So we're up to 4. You see how the clock ticks away? It's quite savage. And then we've got a choice of which we think, all right, okay, I think we want to go through one of these doors and find out what's on the other side. So what we're going to do, which one, it doesn't really matter. Dagobert says, well, why don't we do the central one? Because these other ones might be going into the same kind of thing. Although we know with this one, it's probably going to go somewhere else. It's going to maybe a corridor or something. Let's go through that central one and see what happens. Are we going to listen first? And they think, okay, I think we really need to, just to make sure, just to be careful and not rush into something. Yeah, let's do that. So 1 and 12. So Dagobert gets his leather helmet off, and he says, right, I'll do it because I'm making the decisions here. And he gets a 6. So we don't hear anything. We think, all right, this door's a bit seized up. We're going to have to use our strong arm tactic of trying to push against the door. So we'll get the Dagobert dice, the Tristan dice, and the Lindris dice. And we'll give it a good push. And we have Tristan comes up trumps again with his strength. So he manages to push it open, and then what's beyond the door? That's what we do. Probably our most referred to table in this game that we've been playing so far. What's beyond the door? And what beyond the door, we roll a d20. So we get a 19. Oh no. Oh, it's a chamber. Right, go to table 5. So a chamber. Well, that's different, isn't it? So then any exit's going to be a corridor. Okay. So the chamber size is a 3. It's a square 20 by 20 chamber. So is it going to go this way, or is it going to be this way? Well, that's the only choice we've got. So 1, 2, 3, it goes to the left. 4, 5, 6, it goes to the right. So it goes to the left. So it's a 20 by 20 chamber. So we get our little thing out. Now we haven't had a chamber before, so this is quite nice. And it's also a nice little cute size that we can do. I think Lindris is getting a bit tired with his mapping. He's not quite as accurate as he was at the start. The 3D has been maybe he's not bothering with the 3D anymore. Okay, and then when we have a chamber, we still have a number of exits. Shape, size, yeah, so we don't need to do size, it's not unusual. And exits, then contents, treasure. Okay, so the number of exits are D20. That's a 2. Up to, so there's 1 exit. And location of exit. And that's on a 2. That's the opposite wall. So there's going to be a passage. 1, 2, 3 is here. 4, 5, 6 is there. So it's here. There's a passage going out for 30 feet. So this is the difference between a chamber and a room. You get this. So this is interesting because it's going down towards the chasm that we come up before to approach this palace, and now we're moving back towards. So really we've got quite a big space that we've mapped out now. So we get to our critical juncture where we work out, well, what's actually in this room, or is there anything in this room? So we get our D20, and are we wanting something, or are we really wanting treasure by itself? We want a 20 ideally. We get an 18. Ooh. I think we've got to have a look at this one. Special. Or special, or contains stairway up 1 level, 1 to 5, up 2 levels, 7 to 8, down 1 level, 9 to 14, down 2 levels, 15 to 19, or down 3 levels. 2 flights of stairs and a slanting passageway, 20. And there's a little asterisk, special, determined by balance of level or put in what you desire. Otherwise, put in stairs as indicated. Put in what you desire. It could be. So really, what I desire is treasure, but I just can't do that. That would be kind of that would be a bit naughty. So determined by balance of level. So it's only a level 1. Okay, so we're not going to put in anything absolutely crazy here. I think what we should do is maybe just roll the stair thing, and we won't have anything going up. Well, maybe that would be interesting. Maybe that's, but then when you think of it, would it go up? Because no, the whole point of this is unless it goes up and it comes out and emerges again. Maybe if then that came up in here. If there were stairs, they'd probably be down here. Maybe that's what it's hinting. And if they go up, a bit like this, maybe they would. It's like maybe there's a secret entrance here, something like that. I think we'd have to maybe contrive it a wee bit. But let's go on the basis that we'll just roll this first and see what it says. It's a D20. Let's see what happens with it. So we get a 7. 7 to 8, it goes up 2 levels. Okay, so it's not going to do that. So I would say that it's not going to be stairs. Okay. So we've done this. We've done the or contains. I don't plan just to keep on rolling until we get something. Special, determined by balance of level or put in what you desire. Well, I think all we have to do is just maybe just re-roll again. Yeah. And it says what you desire. So say we re-roll. We'll have everything, but maybe we won't have a trick or a trap or a special again. So if we roll that, because it says put in what you desire. Well, we definitely do not want a trick or a trap, and I don't think that would be nice having on a level 1. I don't want these chutes and blocks coming down on top of the characters and that sort of stuff. So let's as a kind of slight interpretation of this, discount the stairs and then re-roll, but ignore any 18 or 19. And if we get an 18 or 19, maybe we could do a 50-50 between monster and treasure or just treasure by itself. And that could be like a little, yeah, I think that would be fair. If we get an 18 or, say we get a 19, it's treasure as well. And if we get an 18, it's monster and treasure. Okay, let's do that. 18. Oh, what? 18. All right, so that's monster and treasure. According to that, what I've just said, you heard it, monster and treasure again. Ooh, dear. So this could be a bit depending on what the monster is. Okay, so we've had the characters that burst through. They've managed to open the door on the first burst, so there's a chance that they will get surprise on whatever's there. But we do have to determine what the monster is first. And look at the space, the size of it. It's going to be either in our face or it's just going to be over here. It's going to be so close. What's it going to be? We have to roll a d20 first to determine the size or the level of the monster. So it is a 10. So it is going to be a level 1 monster. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? And what we're at time-wise, we're up to 30. Right, okay. Let's just determine what it is. 36. What is a 36 according to this? It's a human. See human subtable below. Wow. Well. That really changes things a lot, doesn't it? Because how would humans get... Unless, if we just look at this for two seconds, the only way these humans have got, maybe they have come down. Maybe there's like another entrance to this thing that they've found out about through some secret scroll or something. Because they couldn't have come in. Yeah, I would say that they have to be or maybe my mind's racing here. I'm just trying to think of what would be the rationale for these humans. Oh no. Yeah, it's the human subtable I look at. So I roll on this. So I was thinking, oh right, it's bound to be characters, but it's not. It's going to be maybe some of these guys. And then it's 46 to 00. Monster level 1 human subtable. Okay, let's roll on that first, because we might have bandits, berserkers, or brigands. But 46 to 00 is a character, so see character subtable below. And then we come back, remember when we were generating our own party, we just used the same procedure, because this is like the NPC version of our player character thing, and we have 2 to 5 2 to 5 characters, and they might have men-at-arms and all sorts of things. Ooh. Wonder what they're going to be like. Okay, I think we have to roll a percentage to see. We'll do that. What an interesting discovery. Well, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, let's roll a percentage and see what happens. 84, so it is characters. Wow. Now that is extraordinary. Okay, I think we might have to leave that on a cliffhanger, or are we just going to keep on going? Yeah, I think we have to. Are they going to be friends or foe? That is the question. And how did they get down here? Now this is the when you do this sort of role playing thing and this Appendix A, it sometimes will throw out this sort of thing, and then you've suddenly got to kind of use your brain to kind of flick into rationale mode. So I'm racking my brain. There's always the chat. Right, now remember in the Green Dragon, what characters have we come across before? We came across Baldur, who was the half-elf fighter thief, who was a bit obnoxious and we didn't really like him too much. And then there was it Malo or I've got his name somewhere. The druid. So potentially maybe they teamed up with another, say, and they've formed a little group of 3, and they're down exploring, and they've kind of overheard. Remember we were kind of talking about, maybe they've heard that we've come here, and they are. So I think if the characters, maybe there's a good chance that we recycle existing NPCs and say, well, maybe that's the reason they've come. And we see them here, and maybe their reaction might not be too nice to us, or they could just be completely fresh adventurers. We know that this place, this Marchton, is now open for business for adventurers. You know, Seaward is encouraging adventurers, and the Green Dragon is becoming a bit of a beacon for people to congregate and, you know, go to Thuderbert's Emporium, get all their adventuring gear, and then go out to places just like this to go and kind of see. And the other thing is, the characters, if we have to have a parley, we've got a bargaining thing where we say, well, actually we've stashed some treasure, and we'll split that with you if you want, in order to avoid any form of conflict. You know, these people might be more kind of like an evil inclination. Who's to say that their alignment is going to be too nice? Okay, I think let's just do a quick heads up on what these characters are. I still think it's tenable to posit a situation where we use the existing NPCs that we've already met in the Green Dragon, and maybe beef them up with another character or two, rather than maybe go down a route of a brand new party. But why don't we let the dice decide on that? Yeah, let's do a 50-50, maybe a 1 to 5. It's the existing NPCs that we know about, and with the addition of either 1 or 2 others, or up to 3. It's 2 to 5 is the characters, because it's the number of characters. You have to just see what it says here. The number of characters in the party. There will always be from 2 to 5 characters in a character group, with men-at-arms or henchmen to round the party out to 9. Oh, so they can take men-at-arms and henchmen. Yeah. Now, if they're first, I was going to say they're going to be first level, because that's what you do. I think the level of each character will be equal to that of the level of the dungeon or the level of monster, whichever is greater. Yeah, so they're going to be level 1 characters. So they're not going to have men-at-arms and they're not going to have henchmen. So they're just going to be 2 to 5 level 1 characters. And then what we do is determine them on this this thing, and we basically go through a kind of almost like a mini character creation thing again, but not go to town like we did with our player characters. Okay, let's decide headline, whether they are the existing NPCs that we've met in the Green Dragon plus a few others, or a brand new party that has just materialized in this place. And maybe they've been stalking us and they've found the rope and they've come in. But let's just do this thing first. 1 to 5, it's the existing NPCs, and 6 to 10, it is the a new party. So it's the existing NPCs. So I have to get my notes out because who are our existing NPCs? Isn't that interesting that we've had that happen? Now, we have got one problem. Remember this Malor? Yeah, here we go. These are the guys we had. We had Baldur Bloodfist, Fighter Thief. He was a half-elf. He was barbaric and modest. And remember, he's looking for adventurers, so he is on the lookout for people. But we had an interaction with him, and it ended up being quite lukewarm. So we put it on hold. So that's the situation with him. So we do have a relationship with this guy, so that's a good start. And then Malor Pathfinder, a level 1 druid, human male. He's friendly and kind, but a bit aloof. But remember when we rolled his little thing in the Green Dragon? He had a dislike for Tristan for some reason. So maybe that's a bit of a penalty. But we didn't have an interaction with Malor. So we've got Fighter Thief and Druid. It's 2 to 5 in this party. So I get my D4 out. So we've already got 2. So let's see how many total is in this party. There should be 4. So there's another 2 we have to do. So we've got a Fighter Thief and a Druid. And we've also got another couple that we have to generate. Well, I wasn't expecting this at all, but this just shows you what happens when the best laid plans of mice and men. And I suppose the positive for the characters is if this is a known quantity, we could probably rationalize with these parts. They are going to be intelligent creatures. We've interacted with them before. They're not just going to murder us and leave us kind of in the dungeon. There's going to be some form of negotiation here. So we're back to the thing where we're actually using the encounter tables, not the encounter tables, the reaction table, and Daggerbert's charisma and all that type of stuff as an interaction. Okay, so I need to do two more. So we've got a Fighter Thief and we've got a Druid. So let's see what else we've got. We've got a 67, which is a magic user. Okay, level 1 magic user. So that's a new character that we've never come across. And a 14, a cleric. Okay, cleric, good. So that's an interesting little party in itself, isn't it? So we'll get our little sheet of paper. I'll recycle my spider paper. So character party. We've got Baldur, Fighter Thief, half elf. We've got Malor, Druid, and we've got a magic user to be named, and we've got a cleric. Okay, and why are they there? I think the only way we can explain this, because surely they haven't penetrated this before us. yeah, let's maybe just think about the scenarios involved here. Because, you know, we've been here for 2 days. We came back to Marchton at the end of day 3, and then we came back here. And we haven't heard anybody. So we have been moving in this area here. So I think the only way that they could maybe have got into here is maybe through there's another entrance. Because the only other way would be that they come through here. Yeah, they see this body of this spider, and they see all this, and maybe they come through these secret doors, or maybe they just haven't found anything. Well, maybe that's what they've done. They've come down here, and they don't have the ability like our elf and our half elf. They haven't really found any of the secret doors, or they haven't been able to get anywhere. And they've gone back up onto the surface, and maybe one of them, like maybe the druid or something like that, knows about something, and said, well, why don't you try the side of the crevasse? There might be an entrance. There's a cave or something, and it leads into here. I think I'm struggling a bit just to come up with a rationale where they've come in and they've almost like they're here, and our characters who have been through all this type of stuff come and see them. Unless there's another entrance, and they're coming down this way, and I think that's probably the best way to do it. We'll actually rationalize that they've come in through another way. Yeah, let's do that. And they're coming down here. So we're not actually in a kind of combat situation, but I suppose we still have a kind of surprise thing going on, haven't we? Now we know that they're just normal characters. There's no ranger there. There's nothing. So I think what we do is we just do a surprise roll. So we'll have the party as a 1, as the black dice, and we'll be the red dice. So we aren't surprised, and they're not surprised. And then we'll just do an initiative thing. So they have the initiative. So I would say that let's see what their initial reaction is to us. So if I just look at the table for reaction, which is in the combat section, and think about relevant factors. So now we'll do it on basis of the leader. So Dagobert is more charismatic. Now we're not really having an interaction just now. What we're doing is almost like the initial, we've discovered each other, and just what is the initial kind of, how does it go? Are they hostile and they think, oh, what are you doing here? Or are they friendly? Are they think, oh, our friends from the Green Dragon, it's great to see you. Tell us all about it, type thing. I think it's just going to be one of them just now. And then when we start doing maybe the parleying, and say they don't decide to kill us off the bat, and we can start talking, I think that's when we can bring our Dagobert and his charisma, his reaction things in, and maybe re-roll on this and recalibrate it to the way we kind of want it. So what have we got? We've got we don't really know I don't think alignments are a factor, because we don't really know the alignments, and there's probably not too much difference. The racial thing, we haven't determined what the race of the other characters. I think maybe that's a bit too complex. I think what we just need to do is maybe just do a straight roll on this and just see what happens. Yeah, just to get a kind of overall feel for where we're placed. Now, on the basis that we have a relationship already, and we don't appear like natural enemies, I would say that we have at least between a +10 and a +20. So let's go for maybe a +20, just to give us a chance that we don't end up in a kind of combat situation, which I think is maybe probably a bit unrealistic. So we'll have +20 onto this as our situational modifier that's relevant, because we've already got established a relationship with Baldur. So he's not just going to try to attack us. So we have 46 plus 20, we have 66. So 66 is uncertain, but 55% prone towards positive. So we'll do the percentage on that, 55% prone. So it's positive. So if we look at my magic matrix of encounters, got to try and find it. Reaction table, here we go. Uncertain, but positive. So instead of being suspicious, wary, and dubious, which is uncertain, they're not. Maybe they're not suspicious, they're not wary, they're not dubious, they're not guarded. They're okay, actually. They're not quite friendly, which would be kind, helpful, conciliatory, interested, offer information, curious, inquisitive. It's a kind of halfway house between that. So maybe they're a wee bit reserved. They're slightly guarded, but not to the point where it's a blocker. They almost say, "Oh, it's you. We recognize you, and what are you doing here? Are you exploring this as well as us?" And then that's when we can maybe start the dialogue. Okay, I think to make this a credible thing, I just need some time, maybe just to contemplate this and kind of almost come up with the next strategy of take this further forward. We've got an initial thing where they are they're uncertain, but prone towards positive, which on our track record of reactions is probably the best we've done so far. That's a result for our characters. So we're not at blows with this party. We're probably as surprised as they are. Yeah, we just really need to work out what almost like a real rationale why they came in. I think it has to be the fact that they've come in through another exit, and just how we're going to react. Now, when you think about character encounters down thing, quite often they're neutral. We're not going to like suddenly become best friends and we all join up and become one super team. They'll probably want to stay discreet, but we might be able to get to trade information, and that might be the way that, say the reaction goes very positively, we trade information. If it goes very negatively, we might have to give them something without anything in return. So we might have to say, actually, if you let us get away, and we'll keep out your way, we'll let you have these silver pieces that we've got in that strong room, and we'll tell you about it. Or Lindris will show you a bit of his map, and you can take down some notes, that type of thing. Okay, well, I think that was quite an interesting way to finish it. I certainly was not expecting that. Okay, let's just call it a day for today, and reflect on this, have a bit of a rain check, and then I'll catch up with you tomorrow and see how this resolves. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.